He was not born into royalty. He was not raised in power, and his name was not always feared. He was once a boy, taken from his home and sold into slavery. In the early 19th century, along the waterways of the Niger Delta, a young boy's life changed forever. Stripped of freedom, stripped of identity, he was forced into a world where survival depended on obedience. But even then, something about him was different. He watched, he learned, he adapted. While others accepted their fate, he studied the system around him, the trade routes, the negotiations, the power dynamics between African middlemen and European merchants. And slowly, he began to rise, from a slave to a trusted servant, from a servant to a trader, and from a trader to a leader. This was the beginning of the man the world would come to know as King Jaja of Opobo. At a time when the transatlantic slave trade was declining, a new opportunity emerged: palm oil. What many saw as a simple resource, Jaja saw as power. He built his influence carefully, forming alliances, controlling supply, establishing authority, until one day he made a bold decision. He left and founded his own kingdom, Opobo. It was more than just a settlement. It was a statement. Under Jaja's leadership, Opobo became one of the most powerful trading hubs in West Africa. Organized, strategic, dominant. No foreign merchant could trade freely without his approval. And for a time, he controlled the system. But power like that does not go unnoticed. The British Empire was expanding, hungry for control, determined to dominate trade across Africa. And Jaja stood in their way. They wanted direct access. They wanted unrestricted trade. But Jaja refused, not out of pride, but out of principle. He understood what was at stake. Control of trade meant control of his people's future. So he resisted, firmly, calmly, unshaken. But the British had learned something over time. If force doesn't work, deception will. An invitation arrived, a meeting, a discussion, a promise of cooperation. It seemed harmless, but it was a trap. The moment Jaja stepped onto the British ship, the balance of power shifted. He was arrested. No warning, no negotiation, no return. He was taken away from his kingdom and sent into exile. Far from the land he built, far from the people who depended on him. And just like that, a king was removed from his throne. In exile, life was quieter, but heavier. No court, no authority, no kingdom. Yet even without a crown, he remained a king. His presence still carried weight. His silence still spoke power. Back in Opobo, everything began to change. Without Jaja's leadership, the system he built started to weaken. Foreign influence grew stronger. Control shifted. Years passed. And eventually, permission was granted. He could return home after everything, after the betrayal, after the exile. The journey back finally began. But fate had one final twist. On the voyage back to Africa, he fell ill. The man who had survived slavery, built a kingdom, and challenged an empire would not make it home. He died before reaching Opobo, a king lost at sea. But his story didn't end there, because King Jaja was never just a ruler. He was proof that origin does not define destiny. From slavery to sovereignty, from nothing to power, from silence to legacy. He stood against one of the greatest empires in history and refused to bow. And today, his name still echoes, not just as a king, but as a symbol of resistance, vision, and unbreakable will. And even today, his story still speaks. In a world where power often silences the weak, his life reminds us that true strength comes from courage, and vision. He was not just a king of his time, he was a voice ahead of it. So the question is, what will you be remembered for? If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful African histories. Because stories like this deserve to be told.